Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Irene Vane, and I'm an instructional specialist from the Consortia office. I'm joined today with Jeannie Franklin, our director, and Karen Danko, our supervisor, as well as Ebony Langford Brown from the Division of Teaching and Learning. Today's presentation is a webinar where you can submit questions on our questions feature. We will try to answer as many as we can. This presentation is also in Spanish and ASL. You have a globe option on the bottom of your screen for either Spanish or ASL. Thank you for completing a quick survey at the beginning you received with the prompt. So we're going to take a look at our agenda for today. We will receive an update on the program analysis work for local schools and regional programs, review what is designed for every high school, review and discuss the high school asset map and regional program proposals, clarify questions and review timeline. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this is just an activator to help make some connections between numbers and data statements. Please take a few moments to take a look at the slide, and either on a piece of paper or on the notes in your phone, you can write down what you think the matching number is with the corresponding letter. We will provide the answers in a little bit. And I know some of you are listening, so I'm going to go through and read the numbers and the statements for you. So number 1 is 27. Number 2 is 2027. Number 3 is 2000 plus. Number 4 is less than 10. Number 5 is 90. Number 6 is 35. A is the number of full-time 9th grade full-time programs. B, the number of high schools MCPS will have in 2 years. C, the number of grade 8 students in the wait pool or wait list for county or for regional countywide programs. C, the number of grade A students that applied to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program. E, the year the proposed regional model and new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place. And F is the percent of students attending their local high school. There's just about 10 more seconds on that. Okay, we'll move forward to the next slide. So why is MCPS making these proposed changes? This is all about more access and opportunities for our students. In 2027, MCPS will have 27 high schools, 2 of which are opening in 2027, and new boundaries have to be established. Numerous students apply to programming, and due to limited seats, unable to access programs that may not be available in their school. Also, some barriers such as distance and bus transportation impact student access. So we have an opportunity right now to create more opportunities closer to home for students in the near and distant future with this proposed model. Okay, so we can go ahead and move to the next slide. First, we begin with a focus on our local high schools by making them even stronger. Our data shows that 90% of our students are attending their local high school. Okay. So, all schools will offer the following within the 4 years of high school. The MCPS project team recommends that business, finance, and entrepreneurship pathways be offered at every high school, given the strong student demand for these areas and for financial literacy. In addition, we've been working with a design team made up of community and staff members, and it's also recommended that all schools offer parallel advanced coursework, for example, ensuring calculus is available at every school. To support this vision, we're focused on ensuring students are well prepared for advanced courses through strong foundational instruction, providing well-rounded course progression that allows students to explore their interest with both breadth and depth, expanding the use of distance learning to close access gaps across schools, offering an authentic research experience as part of the student's academic development. The work to ensure all schools provide these opportunities will move forward in parallel with regional program development and is considered equally essential to the success of this work. Our schools are also responding to the community. Here you will see what every high school will be offering. Our community has been clear that every local school must provide strong core courses, along with opportunities for rigor through honors, AP, IB, and dual enrollment. Families expect clear course progression with electives, CTE pathways, world language, and fine arts, as well as access to financial literacy, business, technology, coding, and engineering. Just as important are work-based learning and research experiences like AP Seminar and AP Research, paired with space for local innovation. Together, these ensure all students are both well-rounded and future-ready. I also know that some have expressed concern about a strong implementation of local programs. This is the work of the Division of Teaching and Learning, and all of our academic departments will play a role in building or refining course offerings that achieve this vision. In the coming months, we will share more details about how we are ensuring our local schools remain strong so families feel confident about keeping their children in their local schools should they choose to. So let's take a deeper dive into what the Down County high schools currently offer and how can the proposed regional programs accentuate what is there for your student. We will also show all high schools as we're going along with an emphasis for the DCC families. Okay, we're going to be talking about the program assets maps. There are 5 program themes. Of the 5 program themes, there are 15 program strands. A high school's assets for the maps include centrally managed regional countywide programs, career and technical education programs, less commonly taught languages, arts offerings and facilities, local non-centrally managed courses and pathways are not reflected. Gaps for program strands are identified per region. Right, so here you'll see a map of all 6 proposed regions. You can see the MCPS proposed region map where the schools are grouped. So there's 4 or 5 schools in each region, and they're designed to be close together. The current DCC schools fall into region 1 and 3, and we'll get a little bit more into that as we move along. Here you will see the 5 themes that will indicate the programming options that can be developed within the assigned school of that region. All regions within the system will have these themes and comparable program options. So we have, and the color coding we'll see throughout these same color codings as we're looking at charts. So medical, science, and healthcare, and that will be identified throughout as green, just as an example. Science, math, technology, and engineering, international baccalaureate, humanities, and language, leadership, public service, and education, visual and performing arts, design, and communication. So let's orient ourselves on how to read this visual. So this is the program assets map. And these are organized by the proposed regions, and they're color-coded by the themes. You will see on the right the name of the high school, and across the top the color-coded program themes, and they're divided up into strands. We said in the previous slide there are 15, but if you count, there are 16 columns because we have science and math as a combo and career and technology science and technical science. The assets that make it on this list include 4 areas: career and technical programs, regional countywide programs, less common languages, and information on arts offerings and facilities. It does not reflect local signature or academy programs or dual enrollment programs. In the last row of each region to be developed, this will show you the program strands that need to be developed in that region. This is a starting point to inform the work going forward. So this slide here shows regions 1 and 2. Region 1 does include some current DCC schools, and the remaining schools are in Region 3. So in Region 1, you'll see the schools are BCC, Blair, Whitman, Northwest, and Einstein. And then for Region 2, the schools are Blake, Springbrook, Paint Branch, and Sherwood. And we're going to go through and show you all of the regions. So give you a minute to look at this slide. Okay, so moving on to regions 3 and 4. Region 3 includes the other DCC schools. We have Kennedy, Walter Johnson, Woodward, and Wheaton. And then Region 4 has Richard Montgomery, Rockville, Churchill, and Wooten. And again, at the top, you can see the assets that are already there. And then that bottom row is the assets that are to be developed. Okay, and so we can move to 5 and 6. So here are regions 5 and 6. In region 5, we have Crown, Magruder, Gaithersburg, Damascus, Watkins Mill. And in 6, we have Seneca Valley, Clarksburg, Quince Orchard, Poolsville, and Northwest. So we're going to move along to our working assumptions. So we can flip to the next slide. So the working assumptions, the initial recommendations are made from using the high school assets, the regional and countywide programs, career and technical education pathways, languages, arts and facilities. This round of recommendations may be adjusted based on additional data. Existing successful regional programs that are not elevated this round for the 6 region model may be elevated or have the option to continue as a local pathway. It is expected that successful local pathways could continue. The 5 program themes have a total of 15 program strands. So we're going to take a look at the initial proposal for each region. And again, you can see the color coding. And I want to point out the lower right-hand corner. There's a coding to this, that capitalization is a new program. If it's italicized, it's existing. If there is a little caret, it's a less common language. And then if you see an asterisk, it's a proposed criteria-based program. So in Region 1, we have BCC. The proposal is to have International Baccalaureate in Humanities. Blair would have Science, Math, and Computer Science and Engineering, Communication. Whitman Leadership Academy for Social Justice and Public Service, and language, special language. Einstein Visual Arts Center, design, education. Northwood, we have performing arts, medical science, and healthcare. And then moving along to Region 2, Blake would have visual arts, performing arts, design and communication, and education. Paint Branch would have medical science and healthcare, leadership and public service. Springbrook would have science, math, and computer science, an international baccalaureate. Sherwood would have engineering, humanities, and languages. Then moving along to Region 3, Kennedy would have medical science and healthcare, international baccalaureate. Walter Johnson would have languages and humanities, leadership, public service, and education. Woodward would have visual arts, performing arts, design, and communication. Wheaton would have science, math, computer science, and engineering. And then looking at Region 4, Richard Montgomery would have International Baccalaureate in Humanities and Performing Arts. Rockville would have Medical Science, Project Lead the Way, Biomedicine and Healthcare, Leadership and Public Service. Churchill would have Visual Arts, Design and Communications, Languages and Education. Wooten would have Science, Math and Computer Science, and Engineering. Okay. And then finally, our last two regions. Region 5, we have Crown. Crown would have Science, Math, and Computer Science. Magruder would have Engineering, Leadership, Public Service, and Education. Gaithersburg would have Visual Arts and Design, Medical Science and Healthcare. Damascus would have Performing Arts and Communication. Watkins Mill would have International Baccalaureate, Humanities and Languages. And finally, Region 6, Seneca Valley would have International Baccalaureate. Clarksburg would have Medical Science and Healthcare. Quince Orchard would have Communication, Languages, Leadership, and Public Service. Poolesville would have Science, Math, and Computer Science with Global Ecology and Engineering and Humanities. Northwest would have Performing Arts, Visual Arts, and Design and Education. Okay, a high-quality program includes experiences beyond the classroom, where students build relationships around shared interest, immerse themselves in content, have fun competing towards common goals, gain authentic hands-on experiences, learn directly from professionals in the field. Some examples include job shadowing and work-based learning with partners such as Holy Cross Hospital and Montgomery General, field trips to the National Museum of Health and Medicine, or a tour of the Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Capstone research projects conducted in partnership with post-secondary institutions. Students can also join clubs like HOSA, Future Health Professionals, attend conferences, and compete in health and science skills competitions. They can earn SSL hours, that's student service learning hours, by volunteering at health fairs or through mentoring programs. And of course, all these are made possible through our strong partnerships with industry and higher education. Together, high interest, challenging courses combined with rich and extracurricular opportunities ensure that students are well prepared, not only for college, but also careers in healthcare and biomedical sciences. Now let's take a look at the next example. In this example, we're looking at a regional medical science and healthcare program. The school already offers strong certified clinical medical assistant and certified nursing assistant programs, so there's a solid foundation to build on. The regional program would have 3 pathways: a criteria-based medical science pathway, and 2 interest-based clinical pathways, nursing assistant and medical assistant. Many of the key pieces are already in place: specialized classrooms, qualified teachers, some with real-world experience, and strong industry partners. To grow the existing programs into a full regional program, we need to take a few steps. Create a 9th grade entry point, which could mean science cohorting and making sure students are included in and extracurricular opportunities, and potentially expand based on enrollment. The criteria-based medical science pathway would require more development using some existing courses, but also adding new classes and experiences outside the classroom. So I'm sure that you have been asking some questions in our question section, but we have many frequently asked questions that we wanted to share. So hopefully this answers some of them before we get to the question and answer at the end of this presentation. So I'm just going to read through these frequently asked questions here. Will local high schools continue to offer application-only programs? So these pathways may continue if they reflect student interest and impact by the way of enrollment, completion, and student outcomes. What happens to application-only programs? This is to be determined. Many application programs were an outgrowth to provide similar programming to students interested in criteria-based programs. Is rising grade 9 the only entry point to regional programs? There will be additional on-ramps to enter the programs beyond grade 9. Will aviation at Magruder be available as a regional program? Yes, the aviation program may continue as an interest-based regional program. Will the DCC and NEC discontinue? Yes, the DCC and NEC will evolve into the regional model, and elements of its success will be reflected in the model going forward. Will the countywide programs remain? The countywide programs will become regional. So we're going to move forward to the next frequently asked questions slide. Will my student go through the DCC choice process? Starting with those currently in grade 7, students will be assigned to the home high school. However, will have the opportunity to apply to one of the regional programs within the region. And this is a question that has come up a lot, so I want to expand on this one. If you have a current 8th grader, the 8th grader will go through the choice process this year and may continue at their choice assignment through graduation. But starting with 7th graders, that will be the new regional model. Does my student have to apply to a regional program? No, it is not required to apply to any program within the determined region. Your student may attend the home high school and take advantage of the local programs available within the school. Will there be a sibling link if my oldest has already gone through the choice process? The proposal suggests that the choice process will be phased out. If so, your current middle school or younger student will attend the home school unless they're invited to a regional program. What happens to existing local signature and academy programs? Several local academy programs have been anchored to the schools within the DCC. The school will determine if the current program will continue within their scheduling model. Is the regional program model a choice process like the Down County Consortium? No. The regional model is not a choice process. The students will be expected to attend their home school and have the option of applying to regional programs. Can students apply to a regional program after starting high school? So there will be additional on-ramps to enter the programs beyond grade 9. Some factors to consider are space available at the school and within the program. So this slide here is just a visual to show what the seats in the program will look like over 4 years. So as it's phased in, you can see that the seats will gradually increase. And we'll be showing another visual on the next slide to show you a little bit more how this is going to be phased in. So for this visual, let's go ahead and review this chart. So I'm speaking here to 7th grade parents. So if your student is currently in 7th grade, you will see a yellow box outlined for the graduation year of 2031. As a current grade 7 student, your student would be the first to be part of this newly proposed regional model. Your student would not go through the choice process, but have the option to apply to regional programs within the new model or attend their home high school. Okay, so here's the timeline. Just to review where we are, you can see we're about ready to kick off October. Um, I encourage you to visit the program analysis website, and we'll have the QR code at the end of this presentation. And it'll keep you up to date. You're welcome to ask questions there and submit feedback. December is when the plan is finalized and the board is making its recommendations in March. And then fall 2026 would be if the outreach season for the first class with the new boundaries. Okay, so going back to our activator, we have the answers here, and as we're going along, you may have heard some of them. So 27 is the number of high schools MCPS will have in 2 years. So 2027 is the year the proposed regional model and new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place. 2,000 plus is the number of grade 8 students in a wait pool or wait list for regional countywide programs. Okay, less than 10 is the number of NEC and DCC grade 8 students that applied to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program. 90 is the percent of students attending their local high school. And finally, 35 is the number of full-time ninth grade full-time programs. Okay, and finally, we have some resources here. These are QR codes to our websites. On the left-hand side, you will see the DCC website, and on the right-hand side, you will see the program analysis and boundary study website. These slides will be available to you. We will post them on the DCC website and the program analysis website as well. And next, we will be answering some of your questions.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Great. I'm Jeannie Franklin, Director of Department of Consortia and Application Program Services. We really appreciate you being here to join us for this presentation for the program analysis work and then also learning about how it impacts the Down County Consortium. My team and I have been trying to respond to your questions, and for those questions we haven't gotten to yet, we may need a little time to answer, and our plan is to respond to them and post these questions and answers on our website. So we'll have that available to you. Just another note that we appreciate you being here, but we also have additional region model meetings that are coming up on October 22nd. Around the same time, we'll have a lunchtime and then also an evening, and then also October 27th. So if you'd like to join us there to learn more information, we should have more information at that time. We will be presenting to the Board of Education on October 16th with new information, updated information about the work. So we hope to see you at one of our region's meetings to learn more. And we'll work to get some answers to you, as you have many of them in the chat. So let's start with a few of the ones that you're sending to us. Will any of the changes address the shortage of middle school magnet spots? So this work is designed to be both the middle and the high school. work. However, we've spent a lot of time working on the high school regional model. And at this time, we don't have any specific information about the middle school programs. So once that is available, we will come to the community and the Board of Education to share that. There's a question about where's the data that has been advising the program analysis work. One of the things that I'd like to share for families is that we've been providing some data to the Board of Education at the various meetings. What we can do is post in this chat a link to the Board of Education website, and there are program analysis and boundary study presentations in which we've provided some attachments and some data to indicate some feedback about the program analysis work and the data that was used to inform it. Some examples of that included who's attending our application programs, such as our Richard Montgomery IB program, the Global Ecology program at Poolsville, the Blair's Science, Math, Computer Science program. Those are examples of programs that we've shared data, and we've posted that on the Board of Education website for you. So there's a question about the current asset charts that have all the various colors, and then the proposed regional models where we're indicating the program by high school. There is a difference in those two charts. The chart that has the colored boxes with the different program strands at the top and the school names down the left, those are asset maps, which indicate which schools have certain assets based on only four things. If they have a regional countywide program, if they have, thank you for showing that, if they have career and technical education programs, if they offer languages, less common languages at their school, and then also information based on art facilities. So just those four. This is not including any successful local pathways. This is not including dual enrollment or middle college pathways that might exist at the school, just those four areas. And where we have it colored just indicates where the school has that as an asset, because this is where we wanted to start building the regional programs from. So thank you for showing that. And what you're looking at is Region 1 and Region 2. And as Irene indicated, the last row is the programs that need to be developed in that region. All right, let's go to a few more. So there's a question about why are we eliminating the DCC? And so what we want to share about that is the program analysis work is really exploring over 45 years of program implementation in the school system. And after we explored all of the different times we have installed new programs in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, we recognize we actually do not have a systems approach to how we implement programs. There are times we implement programs to keep a school from closing. There are times when we implement a program to broaden access for these very high interest programs. There are times when we want to offer middle college or partner with higher education. So we actually don't have a process for why we install programs in the system. Some of our programs are actually installed using federal grant funds to install, for example, the Down County Consortium, the Blair Science, Computer Science, and Magnet program was installed with federal grant funds. And as a result, we have a variety of different ways of why we've installed programs. And what's really important is that we have an approach, because some of our programs do not have central stop transportation. Some of our programs are not accessible to some of our students because they're only singleton programs. And some of our programs are inaccessible because of the distance. So we have this opportunity to take a look at our program opportunities and decide and design an approach on how we're going to implement programs from this point forward going on. So that is how we've approached this work. And in that approach, the Down County Consortium and the Northeast Consortium Elements of those processes are going to be elevated in the regional model program. And as a result, however, in order to create the access that we want to create for students across the county, we are going to have to look at discontinuing the Northeast Consortium and the Down County Consortium choice process. However, students will likely still be able to access local pathways that are very popular at their home school, if that is still their neighborhood school. So those are some of the elements. It was not designed to eliminate the DCC or the NEC. It was designed to broaden access and have a systematic approach to ensuring we can support programming going forward with transportation, access, and reducing the barriers. So we have another question. This is a question that I've seen a couple of times on the chat. Programs at Einstein. So there's a question about why is Einstein not listed as having a program arts capabilities that they do. We agree. So what we wanted to do was get information from our arts, all of our arts, get information from our arts teams about the facilities and also from operations about facilities. All of our schools have stages and theater spaces. And so that's very important because that is part of the full comprehensive program. That information, however, was used to give us insight on schools that had cutting edge facilities so that if a regional program that would be brand new, performing arts would be an absolutely brand new program in MCPS, we wanted to elevate that as an opportunity to identify it as an asset. We recognize many of our local high schools have great facilities. This was just an opportunity for us to elevate which of our facilities would likely be a model for a regional program.
I saw a question about if you live in one region, can you go to a different region for engineering? And the way the regions will be organized is they will offer something from that math, science, and technology and engineering strand. So that would be provided within your region. So your choices would be your home school or applying to a regional program within your region.
So if we can pull up the slide deck one more time and then just go to the regions proposals, the actual program proposals, the slides, there's a question when we get there. There's a question when we can just show you by region 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So here's region 1 and 2. And region 1 and 2, these are our initial proposals. And we want to just emphasize that these proposals are coming from the school's assets that you saw on the previous charts, and then working our way to identifying how each of the schools can have a unique program that is an asset to their building. And you will also recognize that on those charts, we had a line that said needs to be developed. And those are capitalized on these charts, which means that those are programs that have to be stood up. They're going to be brand new at that school. But what we wanted you to know about these initial proposals is that that is what they are. Because we use data to formulate these, we are now taking this information to the principals and we're hearing from the community. We're seeing some feedback in the ask a question on the academic programs analysis feedback. And some of you are writing us directly to give us feedback about the program proposals. And that is very helpful. So the principals and the leadership at the school are also giving us feedback, and we are using that to inform the next phase of work. So the next phase will reveal the changes that may have been made to any of these regions and schools on October 16th when we present to the Board of Education at that time. Thank you for showing the slide. So on region 3 and 4, there was a question of, can we go to the next region? There was a question about where Clarksburg is. And Clarksburg is in region 6. It's with Seneca Valley, Clarksburg, Quince Orchard, Poolesville, and Northwest currently. So some of our regions have 4 schools, some of our regions have 5 schools in them. Okay. So there's a question about moving programs. So one of the items that we want to make sure that you know, and Irene did share this is when we were talking about the process, is that we wanted to look at the school's assets, and regional countywide programs is one of them. And the idea is not to move any of those programs. There is already a local culture that is framing that program. And so if that is an asset for the school and for the area, then we want to keep that program there. So therefore, we are not anticipating needing to move any programs. There might appear to be another program like it. So an example is in one of our programs, there might be medical science and healthcare, but in a school in the same region, they might offer PLTW bioscience. That is okay. We really need to have strong local pathways in all of our high schools. And then we might have our regional programs having a different content area that they're focused on that may not be duplicative, or it might be difficult to replicate all these programs in all of our schools. Thereby, it's going to be a regional program for 1 to 2 sections of students. And 1 to 2 sections of students is 30, roughly 30 students. So we're looking at each year inviting 30 to 60 students per program. And so that will be information we look to share about the number of seats for our programs. Currently, our programs range from 120 total seats to 500 total seats, and then a number in between. So that is a result of different ways of implementing programs, and we'll use that model to inform the model going forward about how many seats will be going forward. There's a question about what does the bold mean on the regions chart? And we did just take it down, but what the bold means, and we have it indicated in the legend, is that it's a brand new program that has to be stood up. It's not a local asset. So let's look at one on the chart. Let's look at Gaithersburg in Region 5. It's in the middle on the left. Visual arts and design are both capitalized. So that means it's a new program. Another new program would be at Watkins Mill, the humanities and the languages. That would be new. And when we talk about languages, I think you heard this, but just because I saw another question in the chat about it, these are the less common languages. Most of our schools offer Spanish and French. Some have Chinese also, but some of the less common languages might include Russian, Arabic, or some examples. So because those languages may be difficult to find staffing for at times, and have that available at all 27 high schools in 2027, having a regional program offer that would be able to provide students an opportunity to explore languages more. There's a question about, will there be a resource that will fully explain each of the programs? Yes, we are preparing with our program directors and supervisors a tool that will be available for the community to review about what each of the programs are. Now, if you already see an existing program, such on the chart, the ones that are italicized, that's an existing program. There's information about what those programs look like. But going forward, yes, we will have information about what each of the programs, what the description of each of the programs will be.
So I saw several questions regarding choice. Some of them, what is choice? or why get rid of choice. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about that. So if you're wondering what choice is, if you reside in the DCC, currently, so that our current eighth graders, in order to be assigned to high school for next year, they have to complete a choice form where they're rank ordering their choice of schools from first to fifth choice. And it's a lottery system to be assigned to a school. Um, so moving forward, our seventh graders will no longer be doing that with this proposal. What the goal is to take the best parts out of choice. So they will have the option to either just go to their home school or apply for a regional program. So currently you have to participate in the choice process, where now with the regional model, it's an optional thing. You can choose to stay at your home school, or if there's a different program that interests you at one of the different schools in the region, then you can apply for that.
Thanks, Irene. So we have a question that I'd like to answer live too. Um, there's a question about the performing arts program at Einstein, um, and why is it being removed? And so we want to respond that we're not removing the performing arts program that's at Einstein. We understand it's a robust program that serves local students that are assigned there. And so that program may stay. We understand that many of our high schools, however, 19 of them are undergoing a boundary study because we're opening two new high schools, Woodward and Crown. And as a result, there's going to be some change as we're going through the boundary study where schools that are overutilized or they're over enrolled will, their aim is to try to bring them under overutilization so they're at their capacity. This may happen for some of our schools where they're going to lose a few hundred students, and that could inadvertently impact student programming at the school. However, the programming analysis work is not making any recommendations to remove any successful local pathways. We recognize that the boundary study may have an impact, but we will continue to partner with our operations team to learn a little bit more about what those outcomes will look like. All right, let's get to a few more. Now, we know that we have quite a few questions in the chat, and we are looking to answer them. We'll likely look to combine similar questions, and then we will post an FAQ on the website the same way that we're going to post information on the website for this slide deck. So we want you to have all the resources, but please give us a little time to start answering. Our plan is to respond to the questions and continue to add to the responses as we get answers from our teams. So there's a question about how did we determine the demand for the programs across the regions? It's a really good question. And one of the things that we did provide to the Board of Education and that we do provide annually in a memorandum, that what it shows is the application numbers to the various high school programs each year. And that information gives us numbers of students who are interested in certain programs. So the programs that are in this report include the MC squared programs at Northwood and Northwest High School, the Visual Arts Center program. Oh, let me take that back. We don't have that information on the Visual Arts Center in that report, but we do have information regarding the Poolsville and the Blair Science, Math, Computer Science. We have information on the Leadership Training Institute at Kennedy. Most of our high school, regional, and countywide programs, there's information about applicant numbers. So as a result, we use that information to inform the programs going forward. as one piece of the information. We are at our time. I'm getting a little signal, but what we wanted to do is first thank you so very much. We know that this was a lot of information, and I know that you still have questions. We want to be partners in this work and provide information on our website, and then also we will take your questions and continue to answer them. We also have a feature on the academic programs website called Ask a Question. We're putting those questions together and going to have some responses for those as well. And then we have two more sessions at the end of October, October 22nd and October 27th, where you can learn more. We'll have more updated information at that time. And we just, again, want to thank our ASL presenters, our Spanish speaking interpreters, and Irene and the full team who's been helping us cast this webinar.